No, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. So, hanging out with this person for a brief period of time, this girl. She had the DSP application. I said, is that a DSP application? She says, yes, I'm applying for it. I'm like, oh, you've got lots of evidence. She's got a medical secret from the doctor. And she'd written a paragraph for herself. I'm like, that's not good. And a couple of months later, I said, how'd that application go? They said, oh, they rejected it and told me how to get a job. Yeah. For the application, for Eliza's application, Eliza wrote out 15 pages speaking about all of her conditions and how they impact her daily life. I wrote out 3 pages about how I help her with things in daily life. You have to make it sound extra dramatic, otherwise Centrlink aren't going to give you a damn thing. And what happened was I went to Centrlink in Sydney. I could say the Centrelink that I went to. I tell you what, Burwood. I went to Burwood Centrelink, but that's not where Eliza went. She went to a different one. Burwood are very good in there. They're actually very good. And I got the carer's application. And for 3 months, I had it right next to me, and every day it would be very threatening to me, foreboding, and just, eventually I filled it out. And Eliza's doctor, I got to know, because I was Eliza's appointments, I would attend them with her, because I just attend them with her most of the time, and so that doctor got to know me as well, so he's become my doctor now. And with the DSP application, he had no problem in helping Eliza with that. And I had to get a medical certificate from him with my carer payment and allowance. He had no problem with that. And so finally, recently, I submitted my carer's application and it got approved. So I'm on a carer's pension now, which to me really, it's my DSP. It's my DSP. It's the equivalent of the DSP for me. And I do help and take care of Eliza of a day, every day with well, it's been my routine now for a while. I am in no way suited to the mainstream workforce. It is my DSP. I get tired very easily. I have anxiety. I have childhood trauma. I've developed stress from Centrlink, because when I was on Newstart, it's always in the back of my mind that I'm going to get a phone call saying, you have to work now, you have to do this course. And doing it like 12 jobs per month, I went through Wise employment at one point. And the first thing they said to me was, oh, do you want to be on the DSP? They shouldn't have said that to me. Oh, that's right. I said yes, and they had a counselling service. And so I did this. I'm not good at being counselled. I can handle 2 sessions. 2 sessions, I'm done. I am done. I prefer to write about things or counsel myself. And in fact, I actually had written out a self-analysis, my own self-analysis as evidence for Centrlink. Now, I know what they would have done with that, but I was like, this is my self-analysis. Anyway, I had the 6 sessions, and after that, I said, I'll do the application for the DSP now. And they said, and the counsellor said, the last session, the counsellor said, so do you feel better now? All better? Ready to work? I'm like, no. I said, it's highly unlikely. I said, I'm never going back to the mainstream workforce. She said, oh, why is that, do you think? oh, I'm never going back. And she said, And I said, DSP time. I said, and she said, oh no, you have to go to see a clinical psychologist for 2 years, and then you go before a board, and then she gave me this application, she gave me this medical thing. She said, take this to your local doctor. I took it to the one that doesn't like forms. And he's in Rockdale. That's all I can say. He's in Rockdale. Excellent at prescribing endo, excellent at giving 3-month medical certificates, doesn't like doing anything else. He's actually really good for certain things, hates filling out forms, don't ask him to fill out a form. Handed it to him, he looked, he said, what the fuck is this? He said, what the fuck is this? And I said, I've been having counselling. As part of the DSP process, they want you to fill this out so I can get recommended to a clinical psychologist. He said, she has no idea what the fuck she's talking about. You know how many people I've helped get on the DSP? She has no idea what the fuck she's talking about. And he said, tell them to call me personally. Call me, I'll do it, I'll fix it. So I had another appointment with the counsellor. I went back to the counsellor. She said, do you have the form? I handed it to her. She looked at it, she said, oh, this hasn't been filled. She said, this hasn't been filled out. I said, I related to her what he said to me. She went, oh, she said, oh my goodness. Oh, wow. She's like, he needs to fill this out. I said, he said, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. She was like, oh, oh, but she said, oh, but I do. She was about 30. She said, oh, wow. She said, you need to get, he's not going to do it. So, she said, I guess that you're not going on the DSP then. I said, and then right there, and I said, I could apply for carer. She's like, wait, all of a sudden now you want to apply for carer. She's like, I think eventually it's going to get a job. And I said, carer, and then she went, you know, you don't want to go on the carer payment. She said, it's very difficult to get. She said, it's really difficult to get. She said, you need a lot of evidence. It's a big form to fill out. And she said, you actually get less than what you're getting on Newstart. What a load of fucking bullshit. They just don't want you on it. My pay has pretty much doubled. I can now get by. I'm in a transitional stage because it's been given to me recently. And what a fucking relief that was. Now, with the, I wasn't, because I googled how much it is, but Google isn't allowed to tell you, so they're just made up numbers. They're completely incorrect. It's practically double what else on Newstart. Not quite, but almost. They do not want anybody going on this, and the carer payment was really easy to get, only because, well, they saw my when they got my application, they would have seen my partner's details, saw that she was on DSP, and just pretty much approved me on the spot. And yes, it is completely legit. It is what I do. I do most of the driving. I get the groceries. I clean the apartment. These are my just everyday tasks. And getting the carer payment, it's my version of the DSP for me. Long overdue, no guilt involved, long overdue, long overdue. And Eliza is also getting significantly more than she was getting on Newstart. And it was a big process. And they will deter you from it, like the phone call I got in 2010. What do you want that for? What do you want that for? Why can't you work? And it was really easy for me to get it. Oh, and on the application that Centrlink said to me, expect a phone call from Centrlink on a private number. They're going to interview you on the phone. It never came through. I think because in Eliza's application, she'd written 15 pages, I'd written 3 pages on her behalf. They would have went to that file. And I think it got instantly approved. The way they informed me was dreadful. I got this email at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I was I do spend a lot of time on YouTube. And well, it used to be mostly guilt-free, now it's just completely guilt-free. I'll get to my goals in a minute. Well, actually, because I've got big goals. And I think that I've got a bit more to say on this. So this probably end up going for an hour. I have to split this up into 4 parts or something like that. I really can't talk about all this in the space of 20 minutes. Or 15 minutes for one video. What was I saying? Got this email. And so I went into my Gov account and it said, your job seeker payment has been cancelled. And I'm like, oh, that means I've been successful. I'm like, what a dreadful way to let me know. No tact at all. And then what happened was I went to payments and I went in there and that's where it said carer's payment and carer's allowance. Now, I originally was only applying for carer's payment, and Centrlink said, you're applying for both of them. I'm like, oh, can I? And they said, yes, of course you can. So I applied for both payments. Now, not broke anymore, not bloody broke anymore, about bloody time. Because before, on JobSeeker, we weren't getting by. I wasn't getting by. I was struggling really badly. Not struggling as much anymore now. A big weight lifted, no requirements. My case manager, which I no longer have to see, she was, I'm still in touch with her, just because I'm actually in a limbo transitional state right now because the system is so slow, but she's fantastic to me. She's the best one I've ever had. She's really good. I'm getting the payments, and no more requirements. None. No more requirements. I've got to say, Centrlink will lower your self-esteem greatly. Lower your self-esteem significantly. Just logging into MyGov, then going to the Centrlink, and then just going through it and submitting a fortnightly form. It's belittle. It's lowers your self-esteem. Really lowers it, and putting in 12 jobs a month. I was the last few times that I made them up. Lowers the self-esteem greatly. Really lowers the self-esteem, and